companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication with print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166, or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Well, we're moving on up to the east side. It would be like some apartments in the sky.
Come check out the new Sisters Braid 2 Hair Braiding and Natural Hair Care Salon, located at 18070 Mount Elliott Street. Our new salon is spacious with adequate parking, Wi-Fi, and all brand new state-of-the-art salon equipment. Come meet your local hair braiders and natural hair care specialists, and check out our many hair services, such as hair treatments, box braids, cornrows, tree braids, Havana twists, children's braids, natural twists, lock extensions, kinky twists, goddess locks, updos, full weaves, and more. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.sistersbraid2.com or call 313-826-0498. Here at Sisters Braid 2, we offer exceptional care for exceptional hair. We look forward to seeing you. Sisters Braid 2 is a proud recipient of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together and rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000 is a local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
Have you ever searched through a shelf full of greeting cards and still couldn't find the one that echoed how you felt? Well, search no more and call Designed by Deej. We offer birthday cards. Our cards are one-of-a-kind keepsake items that your recipient will want to place on their mantle with all of their other beautiful and treasured items. We also offer holiday cards. With Designed by Deej, no holiday will go unnoticed. Our unique greeting cards are sure to celebrate all holidays. We also have cards for special occasions. We are your one-stop shop for unique and three-dimensional handmade greeting cards for all occasions. Specializing, we also take custom orders. Every card is crafted with care and made with love. So call Designs by Deej today at 601-451-9536 or visit our website www.designsbydeej.com.
WGPR Detroit, HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
FM 88.1 WHPR, Highland Park. WVIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
Views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliate, management, or sponsors.
Conference recording started. Conference recording started.
Is that what you feel you know with someone that has
the recording
view
started.
Than your own? Then let's talk with one another. Then let's reason with another on a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon. Comcast Cable. Why don't you call and discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning? You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. That's 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. And now, let's go live with a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again who are hungry and thirsty for Allah's righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's salam alaikum. We had invited a young man to call in yesterday, and he told us something was wrong with his phone. So I will allow him now to unmute his phone and question me about whatever it is he heard me teaching that he want to discuss with me, or whatever it is he had that he wanted to. What was his name? From now on, you keep a record of the people's name. Don't make me have to do all of that. But anyway, he said he'd call in today. So if you're on the line now, young man, you can press star 5 star on your keypad. It's 5 star, and that will unmute you. That will get your hand up, and the brother will unmute you so that you can have that conversation with me today. While we are waiting on him, anyone else that have something they wanted to take up with us before we get into specific subject matter, you're welcome to do so at this time. I'm not one who frowns upon questions. My teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he encouraged us to ask questions. Thank you. He said, ask questions, learn all about yourself. Well, I would never have grown to where I am now if I had went to school and never asked questions. There's no, well, I don't have a photographic memory. I haven't been blessed with that. So when I hear someone say something, I remember a lot of what they said, but I have to go back over it, and I have to ask questions. As in, did you say this? Or, what was that you were saying to me about so-and-so? But I have learned to listen. And that, the brain is a lot better designed than many of us realize. We underestimate our power because we don't exercise our power. If you really learn to listen, you'd be surprised how much more you will retain of what someone said. So, and once you are able to retain what people say to you, then your judgments of people and what people say will be much more accurate. And because they will be based on sure knowledge rather than assumptions. And you get in the habit, if you get in the habit of asking questions, that's just another way of saying that you are seeking facts. And once you get in the habit of seeking facts, it'll be hard for people to deceive you. I'm going to show you something that will help you understand what it's just like this verse in the Holy Quran here. In chapter 16, verse 92. Now, I'm just going to touch on it. I'm not going to go into depth on it right now. But now, look at what you remember when they called Jesus good master? And Jesus stopped him right there. He said, "Wherefore callest thou me good?" There's none good but one, and that is God. Huh? Now, why did Jesus do that? I mean, it's just like people that run around here talking about they worship Jesus and that they, and all of that. Jesus nipped that in the bud before you start running with it. Because if he said it, "Why are you calling me good?" He was telling you, no, you don't be worshiping me. Huh? Yet, when I was growing up, I had a picture. They had pictures like this in my church. You want to know where white people got all of this God complex from? Yeah, it is. They taught us that Jesus was God in the flesh, right? And then they gave us Jesus' picture, right? And who he looked like? Any long-haired hippie, any long-haired bearded white man. Now, I ain't like you. If I say something that people take offense with, you're welcome to come in here and get on me about it. Yeah, come on. I wouldn't have said it if I couldn't discuss it. See, you pretend that you believe in white supremacy, but you don't really believe in that. That's why when now I'm a black man that you claim is inferior to you, why don't you come in here and explain to me and to the world what makes you supreme and what makes you better than me? Come on. You don't even have sense enough to, let me show you how stupid you are. That's why I told you the new nigger. I grew up in the middle of a people who were foolish enough to let people talk them into destroying their own communities. I know what self-hatred looks like. Look at all of the good things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing and guiding some of the worst of us. He guided us into respectful, dignified deeds and actions. And for just a little while, he gave us a glimpse into ourselves of what we could accomplish if we would just work together. Huh? Even this stuff about crooked police out here murdering unarmed black men. You didn't see them pulling that stuff on the Muslims? Because they knew we wasn't going to take it. No, you won't go around here murdering us and think we're going to just sit back and let you do it. I know you won't. I remember looking at that movie, Billy Jack. And I said, that man got something like right there. They put something like right in that movie. Billy Jack, while he was talking to that crooked sheriff. And he said, while he was taking his shoes off, he said, when those who break the law, those who supposed to uphold the law, break the law, then there is no law. Just a struggle for survival. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that you don't turn the other cheek when someone attacking you. Turn the other cheek don't mean become a coward. It means that when you offer peace to someone and they attack you, then you show them the other side of yourself. Fight back. And if you can, you fix it where they will never attack anyone ever again. So consequently, people start spreading the word. Well, don't mess with the Muslim, they'll kill you. Well, ain't no Muslim gonna do nothing to you if you don't bother us. Nobody trying to do nothing to you. But anyway, I used to walk with the Muhammad Speaks and offer it to one of my own people. I don't want that mess. That's what they said. I don't want that mess. Yet, they didn't fear to talk to me like that. Because they knew they didn't fear to talk to none of us like that. Because they knew we weren't going to bother them. Unless they started something. Huh? We wasn't going for bad. And we still don't. You ask anybody that ever met one of me or my followers, and they say, oh, them people don't bother nobody. Huh? So, but we love one another. And consequently, we weren't going to just sit back and let you hurt our brothers and sisters. So There was peace. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad got us starting to open businesses and making jobs for ourselves, you would have thought that our people would have been happy. Had nobody never told me when I was walking around. Now, I'm going to tell you now, when I was walking around carrying pistols and shooting at stop signs for target practice and all that old kind of stuff, and talking about what somebody better not do, I'll blow his so-and-so brains out. You know, ain't nobody told me that. Ain't nobody ever walked up to me and said, you know, you better be careful out here with so-and-so. But when I stopped doing all that and start carrying a Muhammad Speak newspaper, then all of a sudden everybody's so interested in, you know, you better be careful about them Muslims or whatever. Oh, I said, you been to the temple? No, I ain't going down there. Well, how you know what's but that's the way they do. Now, when I joined the Marine Corps, and I was 18 when I joined the Marine Corps. And I had just turned 18 in about November of 68. And in January of 69, I joined the Marine Corps. When I came home, didn't nobody, when I finally got some leave to come home, nobody told me, you better be careful. You let them tell you what to do. Ain't nobody said nothing. Didn't say a mumbling word. When I got ready to join, people just asked me, why are you doing that? I said, well, I need to get out of here. And so but they didn't say be careful and all that kind of stuff. You understand? They didn't have no problem with me following the orders of white people. When I came home with my uniform on, I was proud of my uniform. Sure was. And I ain't never did something half-hearted. If I joined with it, I was with it. Do you understand? I ain't like y'all. Some of y'all, you pretend to be with something that you ain't with. Even when I was in church, I never really joined with that because I wasn't really with it. I wasn't walking around pretending that, I got the Holy Ghost. I used to sit there and wait on the Holy Ghost to hit me like it was hitting these people. Because I wanted to see what that felt like. Never happened. Now I see some of these people, they drinking beer all week and then on Sunday up there foaming at the mouth and jumping up and down, talking about they filled with the Holy Ghost. They're full of that beer. And so that, that stuff turned me off. And so you can jump in and stop me if you think I'm lying. Of course, most of you that been going back and forth up there, I ain't lying because you done seen the same thing. But the difference in me and you, I can't sit there and fake it. You sit there and go along with that foolishness. Talking about, well, you never know. I don't try to knock nobody. I ain't got today knocking themselves by being a hypocrite. So anyway, when I joined the nation, now all of a sudden, something that's controlled by black man and by black people that's in charge, now all of a sudden you got a problem with it. It's just like people, they somehow want to try to make it something wrong with black people following the orders of a black man. Right? You let him tell you what to do. Ain't nobody tell me what to do. The white man been telling you what to do for the past 400 years, and you've been doing it. So just shut up, nigga. You ain't fooling nobody. I stopped being a nigga a long time ago. Now you wanna play that kind of little game, hating yourself and loving your slave master. When you see me show respect and honor for white people, it's not because I'm scared of them. It's because I want respect from them. Just because you may have a beef to pick with somebody, that don't mean that you got a right to disrespect them. And I recognize that, white skin don't make it. Just because somebody got white skin, that don't make them your enemy. You have to look past the skin and see what's going on. It may make you watch them. Certainly watch them. But if the man show you that he ain't got no dog in that hunt, well, then you ought to back off too. Lighten up. So I judge each person by what they do, not by what they look like. And that's a burden off of you when you can just look at people as people until they show you who's in charge up there. Do you understand? I'm still waiting on you white supremacists that's out there to come in here and show us and have a conversation with me about why you believe in the supremacy of white people. What's that about? Come in here and tell us what it's about. See, that's the difference in me and you. I can tell you why I say I'm the supreme being. I can tell you that. And then offer you some facts to back up what I say. Come in there and offer me some facts to show me that you are supreme to me. So you're superior. You're the highest form of humanity. I just don't understand how you can call yourself the highest form of humanity, yet everybody seems to be a threat to you. Ain't that something? A lion don't start running when he see a flock of sheep or a deer and stuff coming around him. He ain't nervous. He lay there and go to sleep. Huh? Why? He ain't worried about them coming over there messing with him. Ain't that right? Now look at you. You claim to be supreme and superior. And those who you say are inferior to you frighten you. I mean, anything that you say is a threat to you frightens you. And see, when you say it's threatening you, it's frightening you. I didn't hear you. I tell you what, when you was when you and I were in school, see, I prove the things that I say. I don't just say stuff. How many times when you was in junior high school And, you know, I grew up in the black community. And if you didn't know how to fight, you soon learned. Otherwise, you was going to be a miserable something. Huh? Am I lying? Okay. All right. Well, I grew up in Watts, so I would tell you, you learn how to fight. And so when you go walking past the projects or something like that, if you walk past the projects, you was mindful. And walking through the projects, you learned how to walk through there too. Huh? Yeah, brother, you don't walk through there looking around and looking like you're lost or walking too fast. You see, that's a sign that you're scared. Do you understand? So you had to kind of walk with a leisurely walk and had a little limp in it. That's the way you keep them bad actors off of you. But you couldn't just be fronting it now. But you learned how to maneuver your way through rough terrain. But when you was in junior high school and you walked by an elementary school, were you scared? Huh? Were you apprehensive that somebody was going to come out there and start something with you? And when you got in high school, was you afraid when you walked by a junior high school? Well, then, there's your answer. You never felt threatened if you walked through a junior high school, if you was in high school, if you walked through an elementary school and you was in junior high school. You didn't feel threatened to walk through that campus. Huh? You knew what none of them little fellas up to messing with you. Ain't that right? Then why all these white folk walking around here with all these guns, talking about black people who ain't got no gun factory, ain't got no flak jacket, ain't got nothing, but we some kind of threat to you? What's your problem, man? You're just a coward, a murderous coward. And this is the end of you. You mark my words. This is the end of you. Why you think so many of them got guns? It's happening more and more now. I just saw on the internet, on the internet, some white people was arguing with each other over shoveling snow. Did you see that? Let me show you this. I mean, this was crazy. Let me see here. I told you, y'all turning into the new niggas. Let me show you here now. Let me see here. Here it is.
It is yet the latest head-shaking incident that will leave you wondering what has gotten into people. 3 people are dead today, a married couple and their neighbor. And the reason is unbelievable. The couple was shoveling snow and tossing it on the neighbor's property. Words were exchanged, and then came gunfire. Stephen Fabian has our report, and we warn you, the video is disturbing.
It's an argument between neighbors. It happened during that huge snowstorm that hit the nation this week. The dispute, snow shoveling. Within minutes of the nasty fight breaking out, all 3 of these people will be dead. Police say James and Lisa Goy were shoveling snow onto their neighbor's property near Scranton, Pennsylvania. They started yelling insults at each other. But then 47-year-old Jeffrey Spade pulls out a handgun. You can hear the woman dare him to shoot. And then he does. The first 4 bullets miss, but then the husband is hit.
Now, think for a minute. The man that told him, you come out here, I'll knock you out, or whatever. That man didn't put no gun on him. He's just talking to him like another man. Is that right? He pulls out a gun. Now, who's the coward? You don't take a gun to a boxing match. But didn't I tell you to get rid of them guns? And I told you that the only one you're going to be killing is yourself. You remember I told you that? Now watch this.
Freezing the video, you can hear him scream out. Then his wife is gunned down. Stunned neighbors come out of their homes.
Are you okay? You want help us? Are you okay?
They all run away when they see their neighbor coming back, armed this time with an assault rifle. At this point, the husband and wife are both still alive, but seriously wounded. The video shows Jeffrey Spade deliberately walking over to them. He's shouting profanities at them, and then he shoots them again, close range, killing them both.
We have 2 victims in the street.
Once more, the killer retreats to his house, and it's there that police say he takes his own life.
Subject might be in the house. We heard 1 single gunshot. He may be
Instead,
Next door neighbor Jamie says the murdered couple were like family. And you're on your front porch. This all happened, like right here, right in front.
I warned you. The only reason you go and get a gun is because you have murder in your heart. And I warned you. I told you. God said, thou shalt not kill. You can holler whatever you want about why you got a gun. But I know, and you know, that a gun only has one purpose. And that is to take life away, to kill. That's the purpose of a gun. It is to kill. If you say that you, well, I need it for protection. Protection from who? The word of God says that without faith, it is impossible to obey God. It says to please. But what pleases God? Is when you obey him, huh? He said that we require your reasonable obedience. Well, we know that God's commandments are not grievous. He said, put down them weapons. He said, I created the smith and I created the iron and then that he put into the fire to draw out as a weapon. Huh? I created them thoughts in his head. Huh? And he said, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Meaning, ain't no weapon that they come out there with gonna hurt you. Because what? Because God said so. Because he has the power to protect me. Right? Okay. If I have faith in him, then I will get rid of my weapons. Right? So what you need a gun for? There's your proof you don't trust God. See, you ain't fooling nobody. You talking about you an evangelical, you this and you that. You just a hypocrite, a liar, a devil masquerading as an angel. Do you hear me? Yeah. Devils pretending to be God people. No. By their works you shall know them. Huh? So I'm just telling you. Now here these people, 3 people dead because they had a gun. Somebody had a gun. All of them would still be alive now, maybe a little bruised up if they'd have been in a fist fight. And as cold as it was out there, I don't think that would have lasted long. Huh? And but at least they all would have walked away. You see? So, in you know, since you know what you are capable of, why put yourself through that? I know me, if I was carrying a gun, I'd be intending on using it. Now, I'm just telling you now, if I was carrying a gun, you know, I know how to use them, and I would have used it on somebody if they had bothered me, just like that fella. He had a gun, so he went and got it, and his anger, he used it. Huh? If he hadn't had no gun, he might have just, this fella, he might be too much for me. I ain't gonna go at it. I'll get over that. Going back in the house. Or he'd call the police. Say, this man over here is throwing snow on my property. Huh? But he decided to do vigilante justice. And all of them wind up dead. I got another question for you that you never answered for me. Just like they talking about the only solution to a bad man with a gun is a good man with a gun. Okay, well, let's take it from there. Well, you got a whole neighborhood full of people got guns. Okay. When the shooting starts and the police come up, the ones who are actually authorized to take laws into their hands and enforce laws, how does the police supposed to know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy with the gun if everybody's shooting? Come on, tell me that. Now maybe I'll rethink my position. I'm trying to get some understanding here. Come on, I'm not. That was not a rhetorical question. I'm asking seriously. If everybody's shooting at each other and the police drive up, who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? I mean, even in the Western days, I was looking at Tombstone, and you know, I like that movie. I mean, it's really it has so much wisdom in it. When Virgil and Wyatt, you know, was Virgil was out on the porch, sheriff's office or somewhere. He wasn't yet a marshal. He hadn't became a marshal. And some rioters rode through town, and they was shooting and riding fast on their horses. And this woman was out there with some children, and she rushed and got her children out the street, and then hugged them and looked up at Virgil with fear in our eyes. And Virgil went back and said, when he decided he was going to take the job of marshal. And Wyatt came in there and found him and said, Virgil, what are you doing? He said, we walking around here like some damn vampires, making it off of these people in there. It's got to be some law and order around here. And Wyatt said, Virg, and he said, Morgan, try to tell him something. And Morgan had become his deputy. And he said, no, not you too. And he said, we don't need this. Wyatt was telling him, we don't need this. And he said, this ain't about you, Wyatt. He said, this got to be some law and order around here. So they, next couple of days, Virgil was up there tacking a sign up on the outside of the saloon, outside of a store or something. I think it was the saloon. And everybody was huffing and blowing. And he said, I ain't saying you can't wear a gun. I'm not saying you can't own a gun. I'm saying you can't bring a gun in town. Huh? And too bad y'all ain't got sense enough to see that. Why would you want your city that you paying police to police? What you need them for if everybody walking around packing guns in the city? Even in the Wild West, they knew you couldn't have no civilized city if everybody walking around with guns. And every time somebody get mad, you got somebody done got shot. How in the world do you justify controlling the cars that drive through your city, controlling everything else, but you don't control guns? What in the world would a person need a gun for in a city, going to the shopping mall or whatnot? What you need a gun for? And if it's against the law to bring guns, then you have citizens, if they see a citizen with a gun, immediately they're going to call the police. Why? What is he doing there with a gun? And tell me something. You got people that go in schools, shoot up children, go someplace and shoot up some people, go to the theater and shoot up some people. Did somebody having a gun in there stop people from getting shot? The best thing is to check history out. Historically, when the only people walking around with guns were police officers in the city, and generally on the street, you didn't have nearly the mass shootings and the things that was going. And at least the police knew who was the bad guy, because he was the only one with a gun besides the police. Huh? You bringing this mess on yourself, because you going backwards. You done went back past the Wide Earth them that had sense enough not to let people bring guns into their city. Huh? And you know what they say about those who remember not the lessons of history? They are what? They doomed to repeat it. That's because they lost. When you don't remember history, you wind up backtracking to something that you had already supposedly learned the lesson from and put an end to. So you start doing it again. I'm still waiting on you all to come in here, and all y'all who pushing all of these things. Well, why can't you have a conversation with someone who disagrees with your point of view? If your point of view is right, what difference do it make who disagree? You will be able to win that argument and win a convert. No, you doing just what the books say. They have gone in the way of Cain. Cain was jealous of his brother and murdered him. It's just like you have people that they want to talk to you, but they don't want you to see who they are. Let me show you something here. Now, you notice everything I'm saying, I'm out here in front of you. I'm letting you see me, and I'm letting you hear me. Do you understand? If I say something about someone that may hear me say something that they don't think rings true, I'm on a live back and forth that you can stop me and say, wait a minute, man. What you just said there, that ain't right. You could stop me. If nothing else, does that not say to you that at least I'm honest about what I'm saying I believe in? At least I'm not being what they call disingenuous. At least I'm not up here just faking and fronting and just trying to get a rise out of people. You look, I told you, and I keep reiterating this, I made a promise to you that I would do everything that I could to help if Joe Biden got elected. Didn't I? Too bad you don't have a long memory about just how great your nation is, white people. The first mistake you made was letting a man come in and suggest to you that your country had lost its greatness. The second mistake you made was you let that man rekindle the smoldering embers of racism. You know, you can always rekindle a fire if it hasn't completely gone out, can't you? Racism is a losing proposition. You know, for instance, look how easy racism was defeated with Hitler sitting there watching when Jesse Owens did what he did at the Olympics. You remember that? Now, he was talking about the superior Aryan race, and he was boasting of his superiority, and he was going to use the Olympics as a means of proving that, right? And just dusted them boys. Huh? Hitler got up and walked out. Now, you see, you cannot push a lie and think that that lie is going to go. There's that old saying go. You can fool some of the people all the time, and all the people some of the time. But you cannot fool all of the people all the time. Sooner or later, your lie is going to be manifested that that's exactly what it is a lie. Huh? It's just like if it had not been for prophecy, you never would have been able to enslave us. I'm talking to these dumb white people who think that they enslaved us, all on their own wisdom and their superiority. You didn't enslave us. Allah helped you enslave us. As he said, he is the doer of what he intends. Let me show you an example. Is it normal for people to, for instance, the scientific community, as you look at science, the further back in history you go, the darker it gets. I mean, putting leeches on people to call themselves, and bleeding people out to let the bad blood out. Remember that? They don't do that no more, do they? Right? But remember now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said Allah revealed that the white man is the devil. The scripture called him the prince of darkness. Now you see his light out here now, right? Now, say for instance, you was a bat. You'd be blind about right now, wouldn't you? But back it up some. And the further backward you move time, the better that bat can see. Is that right? Now you notice, you pick up the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and all of that, documents that were fashioned over 200 years ago. And you have scholars today that can't equal the language that's in them and the wisdom that they have. Now, why is that? Man, I've had to, I don't compare myself to all of these educated people with PhDs and stuff, but as I read George Washington's farewell address, man, I had to get me a dictionary. Do you understand what I'm saying? George Washington was a wise man. Huh? Donald Trump couldn't fit in George Washington's baby shoes. I mean that metaphorically, if you understand what I'm saying. I mean, how How does a man like Donald Trump sit in a seat of George Washington? Huh? Why do you think all wise presidents, if you ask any of the wise presidents, most of the presidents, period, they always have one president that they admired, and they will try to carry on some of the things, the visions and stuff that he had. They will refer back to his, even if they don't tell you. It's just like me. I don't think that I'm wiser than the prophets. If I thought I was wiser than them, I'd throw their books away, like any fool will do. Huh? No. You ask me a question, I start looking through them to see which one of them gave me a better answer for it. And then I answer you from what they said. Just like a judge, a real Supreme Court justice, a real judge. He loves to have cases that law has already been settled on. And most of the cases that come up, there's already settled opinions on them. And he will refer to those opinions when he gives the final opinion of the court and say, and this is upheld by Justice so-and-so back in 1985 or back in this time or that time or whatnot, to let you understand that, look, I'm not just making up something here. This has come up before, and this was the ruling, and I agree with that ruling, and we're going to go on with that. You understand? And just like me, I'll go back and see what Jesus said. I'll go back and see what Moses said or Muhammad said, and then I will answer you. But I will answer you with their words. Do you understand? So, Allah told me to speak with his words. And that's what I do. So as I look at the situation with these people, man, I want you to see this. Now, here's a fella who he's going to explain the Capitol riot to you and I. And see, if you're not careful, you will buy into the thing that people have been trying to do to get you to destroy your country. To destroy your government is to take your country away from you. I mean, these people that's talking about secession, you know, you better consider the source of this. These people are enemies to your country. Anyone who suggests the breaking up of the Union is an enemy to the United States. What is wrong with you? You notice they won't never come out in a public forum like this and try to argue their positions. Come on in here and argue with me about why you support secession. Come on. Then I will let George Washington answer you and see what you have to say about him. Because in order to talk about secession, you have to talk about abolishing the Constitution of the United States. Just throw it away. What? What am I missing? Now, I want you to listen to this boy here. Because, you know, some of you pride yourself with being so smart. And I bet you most of you are going to buy into what he's, you know, I mean, you're going to agree with most of what he says. Watch.
This episode and others like it are made possible by the generous support of my patrons on Patreon. If you'd like to help me produce more content like this and get early access to every new video, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/secondthought.
Now, that almost sounds like a robot, don't it? But anyway, just listen.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you.
He said now it's up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. But who's actually assaulting the democracy and the democratic process? Remember them phone calls he made to the Secretary of State in Georgia? What was he doing? Assaulting the democratic process, huh? But what was he accusing? He was saying now it's time for Congress to deal with this assault. Congress can deal with it right now. They impeached him. Right? And now the Senate has a chance to find what we already know to be true, that he did the Democratic Republic and tried to overthrow it. If that ain't so, supporters out there, come in here and tell me that what I said is not true and why it's not true. And do it in front of everybody. Not in your little dark corner over there where ain't nobody in there but people who agree with you. You know, that's what mobs do. You know, mobs get together and they outnumber. They get in such large number that whoever disagree with them, that gives them the freedom to attack them and to beat them up or to kill them or do whatever because they got the ups on. What? I thought y'all was so brave. I thought you really believed in what you was doing. Press 5-star on the phone and come in here and let's have a discussion about what you said was a fraudulent election. You know what their answer is to people who disagree with them? They just refuse to talk to you. They refuse to listen. And they refuse to have any kind of dialogue with you. You know why? Because they are afraid you may take their lie away. Huh? There's your proof that they know. See, they know they have the right to remain silent because anything they say can and will be used against them. Huh? So they exercise silence. But they watching now. They watching. As the book said, the wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh the opportunity to slay him. Huh? Yeah. Now, look at this. Got all these crowds of liars out there and the chief liar standing up there in front of them.
Walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our brave...
Notice now, he said, we're going to walk down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on. What did he say? We're going to do this. That's the way they used to talk to the slave. John, we got to get out here and get our crops in. We're going to do this and we're going to get it together. And we got to get it in before it wither on the vine. But we weren't going to do nothing. John was the one going to do that. Master was going to be up there in the house, in the big house. Is that right? Is that right? Did Donald Trump go down there with him? But he said, we going to do it, didn't he? See, he's talking. I told you, white people is the new niggas. Now, people like him is doing to white people what they perfected on us. Putting one against the other. You must put the old one against the young one and the young one against the old one. You must put the Republican against the Democrat and the Democrat against the Republican. And this is the way that's what they're practicing now. They're doing the lynch on themselves now. As thou hast done, what? So shall it be done unto you. Well, now, why am I making this known to them? Because I didn't like it when it was done to us. I disapproved of it being done to us. Then why should I approve of it being done to them? Then as a member and as one who has experienced self-hatred and how it destroyed us by turning us on our own people. I don't wish that on anyone. You either for right all the time or you're not for right any of the time. You can't just be for right when it's convenient or when it's wrong being done against you. You have to be for right when wrong is being done against anyone. Now, I see what your leadership is doing to you. Your leadership is now doing to you what black people's leaders have done to us in the past. We looked up to people who didn't give a damn about us. They looked like us, but they didn't care nothing about us. That's why our condition never changed. It just we keep suffering the same thing that every generation before us wind up suffering the same thing. But we thought we was following leaders who could see. Well, if they could see, what was taking them so long to guide us to the light, to guide us out of servitude, out of poverty, out of suffering? The only one who really could see was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And those leaders that were blind, they fought him tooth and nail. Just like with me, you see me doing what is needed to be done to get us up. How come you're not here helping me? How come you don't offer help, man? It's because you don't really love our people. You love to stick your hand in their pocket and pick their pocket. How we know that's true? Look at all the money that the churches and everything done collected from black people. And then look around at the black community, how it stays run down and undeveloped. And why is that? Now here you have white people, just the opposite. You have the most admired nation on earth. And here this crook standing up there telling you he gonna make America great again. To suggest that what? That America's lost its greatness. That only happened after you put him in there. Everybody started looking at America, shaking their head, and started looking off somewhere else to see who gonna take the place of America, because America done fail. Done fell for a con man like Donald Trump. Everybody could see he's but you. Why? Because he gonna save white supremacy. He gonna save white supremacy. What's the name of that house behind me there? They say White House. Yeah. Remember that? You talk that talk, but you done forgot something. The one who actually saved that house was against racism, against slavery. He started trying to move the country towards a more complete unity of all of these different and diverse people from all over the earth that had immigrated here. He was trying to move the country more towards justice. You can't move towards more perfect union if you're not moving towards justice. Injustice will never bring about unity. Show me a place in history where people practiced injustice and became great. Show it to me. Just name one successful tyrant. Since you so bent on being tyrants. You remind me of these people who was doing drugs when I was growing up. And when you tell them, look, man, and you see what that stuff did to John, you know, one of our friends or whatnot, say, yeah, but he couldn't handle it. I can handle it. That's an old lie that people tell themselves. Regardless of how many people go down a destructive path, you always got a fool who thinks that he can go down that path, but it ain't gonna happen to him. What happened to the rest of them? Right? Yes, sir.
One Cox says that he would say that the drivers of the system do need to be fixed. He's agreeing with Donald Trump.
Well, why don't he come in here and put forth his view? What are you hiding behind the internet for? I'm not hiding. I mean, you got a driver now that's fixing what Donald Trump messed up. Donald Trump is the one that messed things up. Putting all them unqualified people in positions of the government. See, I told you they're a bunch of cowards. See, he can't come in. He won't come in here and talk. Can't even provoke him to come. Come on in here, boy. Okay, I tell you what. I ain't gonna fuss you out. I just want to ask you a few questions. Come on in and tell us about your support for Donald Trump.
Now he says, no, I'm not agreeing with Donald Trump.
Well, read what he said first.
First thing he said was that it has to be fixed. I asked him what has to be fixed. He said, well, I would say the drivers of the system. I said, are you talking about what Donald Trump was talking about? He said, yes.
When did Donald Trump talk about the drivers of the system? I mean, that's the first thing I want to ask him. When did Donald Trump talk about something needing to be fixed? I remember he suggests a lot of things, but Donald Trump, he said he's going to have some of the best people. You remember that? Did he put the best people in? What is the best people? Then we found out what he meant by the best people, didn't we? What did he mean by the best people? I'll tell you what he meant. People that would be loyal to him and not to the Constitution. I didn't hear you. Everybody that decided to be loyal to the Constitution, he fired them. Even, was it James Comey? Wasn't he the director? When Donald Trump wanted him to kiss his ring, and James Comey had already been blindsided as the director of the FBI. He there trying to save the reputation of the FBI and mess around there and boo-booed on the reputation. Because had no FBI director ever had to defend the FBI against a presidential candidate, accusing him of some kind of way wrongdoing. But Donald Trump, he blew everything out the water, didn't he? Which I told you what he was up to. I told you he was going to try to get rid of your government. When he said he's going to drain the swamp, he meant get rid of your government. Grover Norquist told you he wanted somebody in there that had good dexterity. We don't need no fearless leader. Is Donald Trump a fearless leader? Or is he a coward from his heart? You know, I'm just telling you. He ain't nothing to him. We just need somebody that can sign what we put in front of him. Remember that? Yeah. Now, so if you think you got something you want to come in here and talk to me about, man, you come on in here, but you know, don't try to act like you don't see that America now has a qualified man in the White House. No, don't play that game with me. I'm not going to let you get away with that. Now, all of you that's got a problem with Joe Biden, come in here and tell me what your problem with him is. What? So I'm going to let you hear this fella, this robot sounding fella here. Now, just listen.
Congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to.
Did you hear what he said? He was saying we, wasn't he? Then all of a sudden he said, because you will never take back. Listen. And then you find out that Donald Trump is he's just a phony from the word say go.
So much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
You'll never take back our country. How come he didn't say we'll never take back our country? He said you'll never take back our country. He just said he's going to be down there with him, didn't he? He's letting them know I ain't going down there with you. But he's sending them down there. Listen.
Never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's death involved. Hold up, man! You better believe you got me. Stop the deals. And my country we want it back. Fuck these Democrats.
Did you see what he said? F you Democrats. You must put the Republican against the Democrat and the Democrat against the Republican. So far, the Democrats hadn't bought into that. Huh? They still been trying to sit down and talk and make peace with them people. Is that right? But understand this. It's just like with, they keep saying, well, if you go through with this impeachment, that's going to further divide the country. No, that monkey don't swing. So in other words, let Donald Trump and all of those people who just committed sedition, just let them go like Lincoln did a long time ago. Let them people who committed treason, he gave them amnesty on the condition, on their word that they would never take up arms against the United States government ever again. Huh? But they didn't keep their word, did they? I didn't hear you. No, can't do that no more. That's why they back at it again. Because they didn't suffer no consequences really of it from the last time they rose up and tried to overthrow and break up the Union. This time, make them pay. How come ain't none of them threatening me, calling me up, telling me what they're going to do to me? You was in there hollering, Nancy, where Nancy? Huh? You got a behind too. What? That's their point, is to try to make you afraid. Well, I can't vote against them because I'm scared they're going to do something. Well, why don't you get together and do something to them after you? Let the undertaker visit their relative. You don't bend and bow to terrorism and terrorism. You stand up to it. That's how you protect your family. You need to go and listen to General Patton's speech. When he said, I'm not, you run around here talking about you going to lay down your life for your country. He said, the better thing is to get the other poor fool to lay his life down from here. So you understand. General Patton, he didn't play, man. And, I respect that. You don't run from people whose object, if they wasn't afraid, they wouldn't be trying to put fear in you. That's what people do when they pushing a bad idea. In a civil dialogue, so they try to frighten you into submission to an unjust position they have taken. Do you understand? Allah said to me, and I'm saying it to you, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks. For they are a rebellious house. You hear me? And you know what Allah said, do with every ungrateful, rebellious one. Do what with them? Cast them into misunderstanding. Send them delusion. Next thing you know, they fighting and killing each other. Huh? Yeah. That's what's about to happen. You just wait. He run around here talking about this is our country. Whoever said it wasn't? I mean, really? Whoever said that it wasn't your country? Donald Trump said it. He said they're taking our country. What do you mean? Why don't you come out and say what you mean? I mean, when you send people to school in your country, they come out with the mind that you have. That's why they call America a melting pot. And it's a great experiment, a grand experiment. To do what? Towards making the world one. That's one of the reasons the moon is out there, because God was trying to get people to become one, and they refused to agree with him. Huh? And he got angry and destroyed them. Noah was the one that found grace. Huh? Yeah. This is an old idea to make humanity one. The only way we can become one is by reason. You can't force people into agreement with you. Because even if you frighten them into agreeing with you, all you doing is delaying the inevitable. That eventually they're going to get fed up with being afraid, and they're going to rise up, and it's going to get enough of them rise up, and they're going to overthrow you. That's history. Throughout history, you've had tyrants that rose and fell. Is that right? Yeah. But since, you know, in order to be a tyrant, you have to be an ignorer of truth. Because if you remember truth, you won't even bother to go down that road of tyranny, because history teaches you a lesson that is repeated again and again, that all tyrants end the same way. Huh? No. The way to eternal peace is through reason and through brotherly respect, into treating others as you would like to be treated. It's just like me. You hear me sometimes saying things that you may think is harsh, but all I be trying to do is provoke somebody to come in here and have a conversation with me. You know, I mean, I like to, I can use people's manhood. Sometimes, you know, you can back a man into a corner and he'll finally say, yeah, I'm going there and talk that. So I'm glad to have him come in here and talk to me, because I really believe the position I have taken is correct. And if it is not correct, the only way I'm going to find out that my position is incorrect is I have to talk to people who disagree with me. You're never going to find out that your position is not right if the only people you talk to is people who are on your side, who agree with you. You got to test what you claim to know, test it against people who are of a different school of thought. Let them question you, and you question them. That's what I do. But most of the time, I'll answer people's questions when they come in here and ask me a question. When I go to ask them some questions, then they clam up. It's because most of you don't know what you're talking about. You're so used to just saying something and getting away with it. That's what that stuff on the internet is. People throw insults out there and say all kind of crazy stuff, agreeing with something that they don't really understand, and nobody ever confronts them about it. So they think that everything that they think is right. They convince themselves that everything that they think is correct. That's why you got all of these lies out there masquerading as theories. Then when you ask a person, well, how did you come up with that? What do you mean? Everybody know that. Well, I'm still asking you how you came up with that. See, in order to call something a theory, you have to have some facts that led you to believe that theory. Do you understand? It's just like when they go and when the police, they go and get a search warrant. You don't go to no judge and ask for no search warrant. And he asks you, well, what are you searching for? We just need a search warrant, so just in case we can go in there and find something. He said, no. What is your reason for asking for a search warrant? What's the probable cause you got to search, and what are you searching for? The Constitution guarantees people the right to be safe in their own homes and whatnot from unlawful searches and seizure. Huh? Now, what are you going after in there? Well, Your Honor, we think they have drugs over there and such and such. Well, okay. So you searching for what? We searching for drugs, drug paraphernalia. What gave you the idea that that's over there? Well, we think they've been selling drugs because we known this fella here as a known drug dealer. Or whatnot. The judge make you explain why you want to violate their constitutional right to unlawful searches and seizures. Right? By probable cause. You see? So likewise. Now, the police, they have a theory based on something that, a fact that they know about, to help them go and dig deeper to see if their theory is correct. Now, what is your facts that you have that tells you that election, this last election, this last presidential election was fraudulent. This is to anybody out there. What is your fact? I didn't say what is your rumor? What is your belief? What is your fact that makes you think that the election was fraudulent? We just found out Smartmatic is suing Lou Dobbs and Fox News and some of them other hosts on Fox News because they said that Smartmatic machines were being used to favor Democratic candidates to rob Republican candidates out of winning election. Now, Smartmatic is suing. Lou Dobbs just got canceled, which means they had no facts. They just got out there and said that. And I'm going to tell you something. If Smartmatic just holds the line, don't settle out of court, hold their behinds in the court and make them answer for what they've been doing and make an example out of them. And other companies should join with Smartmatic and do the same. Make them pay for lying on you. No out-of-court settlement. Make them go to court and get the ruling and make them pay the full price. You should never, look, if you want something to stop, if you want lying to stop, make the liar pay. That's what capitalism is all about. You pay the cost. If you can't pay the fine, don't do the crime. Huh? Is that right? And once you hit him in his pocket, I guarantee you, when he start realizing that every false word that he speaks, he gonna have to answer for, he'll stop lying. He'll keep his big mouth shut. You know, the scripture does say, every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account of it in the day of judgment. I didn't hear you. You know how people say, I didn't say that, I didn't say that. Hit the button. Is that you talking? Huh? You see how now you can hold people accountable for what they said. Ain't that right? They can't say I didn't say that. Especially when you got them right there on tape and video with their mouth moving, lying. And you know, when a person lying, the best way you can find out that they was lying was they'll say, I didn't say that. You know why? When lie detector on them, and most of them, when they say that, that needle won't move because they telling the truth. They don't remember saying that. Do you understand? Because they lied. When you tell a lie, that lie does not take root in your mind. It has no stability. So naturally, you're not going to remember it. Ask any lawyer and he will tell you. That's why they take depositions. They may take a deposition 6 months before a trial. They try to take a deposition early as they can. Why is that? They try to take the deposition early because if you lie in that deposition, you're going to forget what lie you told. Do you understand? Because your memory works just like your physical, when you try to remember physical, the way home. Have you noticed when you coming home, even though streets have signs on them, you don't pay no attention to the signs on your street. You're not looking for the name on no street. It's a house or something on the corner or whatever. It's a landmark. And you know when you at your street by you see that landmark. You understand? That's what roots in your memory. And so even when you come home, you recognize your own house, but you know when you close to your house because of the houses that you recognize that surrounds your house. Is that right? Yes. So these are things. Likewise, memory works like that. The reason that most people don't remember, the reason that we don't remember lies that we tell is because in order to bring up, when someone asks you a question about something that happened, if you tell the truth about it, then your memory starts connecting to events that led up to that. Do you understand? And so you say, well, it's so-and-so, this happened, and this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Well, those are things that are etched into your memory. But when you lie, that lie just pops up from nowhere. It ain't connected to nothing. You just made that up. So naturally, it's just like a songwriter. You ask a songwriter or a poet when they get an inspiration of a song or a poem, they will tell you that they have to write it down as it comes. Why? Because if they don't write it down, they're gonna forget it. Do you understand? You know, they have to keep a record of it. So, and the sad part about lying, a good lawyer, a good attorney, don't make no difference how much you study a deposition. A good attorney, when you lying about something, memorizing your deposition ain't gonna help you. Because they will ask you questions that will take your mind away from the order in which you remembered what was said, and pretty soon, as with anything, when you ask the question, you can ask a specific question in many different ways that will throw a person off if they memorize the deposition. Do you understand? So, it don't pay to lie. So you got people come in here and they just say things, and just like this man, what is actually going on is there has been a concerted effort inside of America and outside of America by the enemies of America, of the United States, I put it like that. Inside the United States and outside of the United States, there has been a concerted effort to get the United States people to tear their own government apart. That's why you notice, and I'm going to tell you something, I respect the news outlets. I do. I play a lot of what they have to say, but you must you must be very careful about trying to appear unbiased by trying to blame both parties for something. You are playing right into the hands of those who are trying to get the American people to lose confidence in their government. It's like you'll hear in this thing, man talking about he don't really care about Joe Biden either or whatnot. But he does not be specific about any charges that he wants to make against Joe Biden. It's like people who tried to suggest that Joe Biden somehow single-handedly was responsible for that 3 strikes law back in the 90s, that actually most of the black community was asking for. Huh? So you got to be very careful about what you let people inject into your thought process. Whenever a person is giving you a specific position, you remember when they was, did you look at, you remember Star Trek with this new Star Trek with the young Kirk and stuff in there? You remember when Kirk cheated on the Kobayashi Maru test and reprogrammed it so he could rescue the ship, and they was accusing him, and he said he reminded them that he had a right to face whoever it was who was accusing him, and it happened to be Spock, and Spock was ordered to come down there. What is that to tell you? Never trust advice being given publicly by just a voice that you hear. If the one behind the voice is not willing to show himself. You understand? I mean, if you want to come out in the public and give your distillation of information, don't you think the public has a right to see you and to see who you are and to see your body language and to see, I mean, just to see who they're taking advice from? Huh? So just listen now. Now, look at that. They're saying USA, USA. But look what flag they hoisting up there. You see that Confederate flag? Zoom in on it. How is that USA? It's only USA if you go by what Donald Trump said. America first. If you want to get, you notice, he said he fell in love with Kim Jong-un, didn't he? And him and Putin, he said, we get along fine. He respects me. Remember that? But both of them are dictators. We have an old saying in this world. I've heard it, and you have too. Birds of a feather do what together? They flock together. Now, how How does a man who represents the chief democratic republic claim to get along fine with dictators? Now, this is something I want all you people out there that's been supporting Donald Trump and all that, come here and tell me, how does that work? I mean, how does that work? Especially since you claim to be an evangelical when God said there ain't no fellowship between light and darkness. There's no fellowship between the children of light and the children of Belial. What are you doing? How is there fellowship between dictators and democratic republics? How's there fellowship there? You say you get along with. Are you encouraging them to become democratic republics? Are you encouraging them, and are they accepting your encouragement to give their people the right to vote them in and out of office? Or have they convinced you to undermine the democratic republic that you're supposed to be representing? It seems to me that they convinced Donald Trump to undermine the democratic republic that he represented. What makes me say that? Donald Trump, he's the one that got out publicly in front of the whole world and said that he trusts Vladimir Putin and not his own intelligence community. Donald Trump is the one that has told the American people, even before the election was done, before the election was even started, he said, if I win, it will be honest. If I lose, it will be fraud. Telling the American people what? You can't trust the election? Well, if you can't trust the election, then you need to change the government. Right? That's what's next. You have lost your republic already if you can't trust the elections. Ain't no wonder you're getting along fine with the dictators. He even made suggestions. 8 years, 12 years, for life. His presidency. And they was clapping. And you got to be poorly educated to believe in that. Because if you knew anything about the history of the United States, it came into existence because white people had already experienced kings and dictatorships, and they were sick of them. And they wanted a government that they had some say-so in. Huh? And now you say you want to go back to that? You lost your mind. So, which I told you was going to do. If you do your racism and all that stuff in my day and time, I told you that you was going to be put to death. And I explained to you that meant put out of your right mind. If that ain't so, then I owe you $50,000 if I hadn't told you that before it happened. Didn't I tell you what's going to happen? Is it happening?
Yes, sir.
I told you was going to see him go crazy right there on TV. I didn't hear you. These people that's texting me these things, why are you texting me instead of just asking me a question? Anyway, I think this was some of my relatives that trying to get some information about some of the other relatives. So excuse me. But anyway, so where was I? What was I saying? Yeah. I mean, Donald Trump, he he loses the election, and then he says it was fraud, and then he tells the people in Georgia, go find it. Do you not see that his own words tell you he was lying when he said it was fraud? Because what? He obviously hadn't found none. Otherwise, he wouldn't be telling them to go find it. He'd have said, and here it is. Right? But, when your mind is not right, wrong things seem right to you. And you will try to do something that makes no sense to a right-minded person, but it makes all the sense in the world to you. And then that's what he did. His mind gone. So he declares fraud, and then he tells the investigators, now go find some. And I tell you what, Mr. Raffensperry, what? Mr. Raffensperger, go and find me 11,780 votes. There's plenty of them out there. Go find me 11,000. And you can always say that you found some more. Right? Stop the steal. He said them words, didn't he? What did Mr. Raffensperger do? He stopped the steal. What did the people in Pennsylvania do? They stopped the steal. What did the people in Arizona do? They stopped the steal. And in Wisconsin, they stopped the steal. In Michigan, they stopped the steal. Donald Trump asked them to stop the steal, didn't he? And they did. They stopped him from being able to steal the election. Even when they planned to, you're going to find, you watch. It goes without saying that the way that thing was done in the Capitol, that the police were under supported, and that the Congress was really under protected, you will find that there was some planning that went into making sure there wasn't enough protection there. Huh? That. What happened? Who stepped in? Allah did. And kept them all safe. And the police officers that were there, Allah used them in such way to keep the Congress safe and confuse the minds of those who went up there with one thing on their mind to do and then got inside of there and didn't even know what they was in there for. Huh? And the few that was trying to have a specific reason for being there to take hostages and to murder the vice president and many other of the members of Congress, they failed. Huh? And now some of them are under arrest. So, and some of them died, that was partaking in it. They murdered an officer. I mean, if it was the other way around, if it had been black people was the ones doing that, it would have been a whole lot of dead bodies out there. And if a police officer got killed while they was doing that, they all would have been charged as being a part or accomplices of that murder. Now, don't tell me, I know how y'all been, I know how you roll, man. And I'm warning all of you that's in positions of authority, you had better hold these people to account, or there will be a next time. If you don't want it to be a next time, make an example out of them this time. You ever seen a bully that got away without a scratch in bullying people? That he didn't do it again. If you want them to stop being bullies, put some on their behind. It's just like what Smartmatic doing with Fox News and some of them other places. I don't know how many others they may be suing. They putting some on their behind. Now, the mere fact they done took Lou Dobbs off and still paying Lou Dobbs tells you that they know that lawsuit got teeth, man. And playing a disclaimer ain't gonna help you. When you know that someone is putting out false information on the character of a person or an entity, and you just play a disclaimer and say, well, I ain't got nothing to do with what they saying. Now, you got everything to do with it if you giving them a forum. You ought to make that person show you some evidence that what they saying, you got some proof of it. You have some proof of what you're saying. If you ain't got no proof of it, I can't let you put my station in jeopardy with what you're saying. They can play their disclaimer because they ain't the one with the proof. But they should have checked to make sure that the one who's saying it gave them something to hang their hat on, so that if you haul them into court, they can say, look, they showed us this and they ready to defend what they said. And because we checked into it, it had little teeth in it. So we sold them some airtime. Huh? But don't holler you played a disclaimer and that eliminated you from any kind of liability. You supposed to check what people saying over your airwaves. Oh yeah, you can't just play a disclaimer after somebody went out there and sullied people's reputations. You know, look, censorship is not something that is permitted by law in this country, because freedom of speech is protected. But that is with the assumption that you are speaking the truth. When you go out and otherwise, if freedom of speech is protected for all types of speech, then why are there laws against slander? Why are there laws against libel? I didn't hear you. I mean, if you had the freedom to say these things, then why can you be sued for saying them? No, freedom of speech means freedom to speak the truth. I didn't hear you. See, you ain't gonna run that game on me. You're not gonna see, these people have been trying to use your Constitution. Listen to me. They have been trying to use your Constitution to undermine your government. Declaring that the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, this is what they interpret the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms is the right of the citizens to bear arms just in case they need to overthrow the government because the government is unjust. Then if that's true, then why does the Constitution set forth laws against insurrection and treason? Because to overthrow a government is an insurrection. I didn't hear you. And these people walking around here calling themselves militias. There's no such thing as a militia that's not under state control and by state authority. As the Constitution clearly mandates. It says well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the state. The right of the people of that militia to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. If you are really a militia, where are your tanks? Where are your howitzers? Where are your grenade launchers? When the last time you seen a militia with M79 rocket launchers, M79 grenade launchers? Huh? When the last time you seen that? Are those available to them? When the last time you seen a militia, these so-called militias, riding down the street in tanks? Have you seen them with armories? The right to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. What do infringe? Limited. And if it meant for all citizens, listen good now. If it meant for all citizens, the right to keep and bear arms is a right. Then why are you demanding that people go get a license to buy guns, to carry concealed weapons? If it's their right, they don't need no license. If driving a car was a right, you wouldn't need no license. But it's not a right, it's privilege. Privileges can be taken. Rights, no, if the Constitution, if you have a constitutional right, it's just like you say, you have the right to remain silent. You have, and the police can try to talk to you all they want. And they ain't got no business putting their hands on you and trying to force you to say nothing if you decided to exercise your right. Huh? Now, when I was in the Marine Corps, I didn't need no license to carry no weapon. I was issued a weapon and a serial number on that weapon, and it was mine as long as I was on that base there. And when I went to the armory, when we was marched down to the armory to check out our weapons, I got my rifle. Huh? And I ain't had no license. Do you understand? I didn't hear you. Yes, sir. Yeah. See, you run around here lying. These people that call themselves militias, they ain't no militia. They ain't nothing but a gang of thugs. No regulations at all. And they don't have any authority to enforce any law. You ain't got to take my word for it. Just a moment. Would you think someone that was once over Homeland Security might know what a militia is? Well, let's see. I like to give you facts.
There was, and quite frankly, the leader of that group has now said that he has formed a knocked out. There was an insurgency that they were sort of the main component of. There was a governmental connection to the insurgency, those who were out of power then forming an insurgency. You now have this woman who is connected not just to racism, extreme racism, Katie Hopkins style white nationalism, but also to violent fantasies that she put in her ads to run for Congress. We now have inside of the state of Georgia, where she's from North Georgia, the leader of a private paramilitary group. They're called the Georgia 11% Martyrs. This group provided security to Marjorie Taylor Greene. The leader of that group has now said that he has formed alliances with other far-right groups to advocate for Georgia's secession for the Union. Georgia's not going to secede from the Union. It's basically now a blue state. But how concerned are you that Marjorie Taylor Greene, despite not having committee assignments, she still has ties to what sure does sound like a paramilitary insurgent group in Georgia. Well, let's start with facts first. There is no such thing as a legal private militia. All 50 states have laws on the books that ban private militias from conducting law enforcement activities, meaning if she was using them for security at her campaign rallies, that's illegal.
Did you hear that? And she was former Assistant Secretary, Director of Homeland Security. Now, if anybody knows, it ought to be her. Huh? No such thing as a private militia. The Second Amendment says a well-regulated militia. Well, you can't regulate something that's private. I didn't hear you. You notice the National Guard is well-regulated. The Marine Corps is well-regulated. Matter of fact, they have what is called a Uniform Code of Military Justice. The UMCJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And it's regulations in there. You even got general orders. When you join the military, there is orders that regulate your behavior. Your first general order is to take charge of my post and all government property in view. Take charge of this post and all government property in view. To walk my post in a military manner, keeping always on the alert, observing everything that takes place within sight or hearing. We had to learn that in boot camp. Huh? So that even when you don't have anybody around to tell you what to do, general orders tell you what to do. Well regulated. You know what regulate means, don't you? It means control. An army or a militia that has no control, nothing to control it, is not an army. It's not a militia. You don't just do what you please in the military. You follow orders. And as far as these people talking about the president ordered them to come up there, that's because he wasn't no president. If there was really election fraud, he didn't need no rocks in the pocket, crazy right wing or left wing crazy folks coming up there with no little rifles or whatnot. That man is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the United States. But he knew he could not, on a whim, and he could not, which he would have tried if he thought he could. He would have used the armed forces of America against the United States to try to force his way into a second term or to a life term in that office. Do you understand? What do you need a private militia for if he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces? But he know the armed forces wasn't going to follow his unlawful orders to overthrow the government. I didn't hear you. You see, you walk around here telling them lies like you believe that there was some fraud in the election. No, you don't. Because Donald Trump was at one time president of the United States. If there had been fraud, if he thought that there was going to be fraud, you know what he could have done? He could have ordered the National Guard or ordered the military to be watchful of the electoral process to make sure it was honest. He knew that election was honest. His whole intelligence community was telling him that they got it, and don't worry, it's honest. Huh? lost. Because it's more decent people in this country than it is hateful and backward thinking people. So, he wasn't worrying about discounting black people's votes when so many of them voted for him the last time. There's a whole lot of black people voted for Donald Trump last time. A lot of them listening to me right now. And some of them voted for him again this time. So even if he had disenfranchised their votes, he'd probably still lost. So let me tell you something. Your injustices are so blatant. It is remarkable that you cannot see how out of step with time you are. You know, it's really sad that you can't see that, even your forefathers knew that once you educated the slave, he soon would be talking to you man to man as an equal. That's in the William Lynch thing. Huh? That's why you spent so much time. There's your proof that you knew, and those who enslaved us knew that they were not our superior. They knew that. It don't make no difference how much you teach a dog how to go after one of them tigers. You might teach him to be vicious and sound vicious and act vicious, but you teach him to go jump on a tiger, he's gonna wind up in the tiger's stomach. You hear me? Because he ain't no lion. Do you understand? Well, likewise, if we were truly inferior to you, don't you know that there's no way I could be standing up here talking to you like I'm talking to you, and you don't have no answer for me? I mean, I take the knowledge that that I got from you. I graduated in the 12th grade with D's. That's how disinterested I was in school. I had some D's on my card, C's and D's, barely passing. D mean barely passing, right? Okay. Of course, now even Einstein, they say he got a C in mathematics, right? Maybe he was just bored. What you think? Yeah, it must be enough. But anyway, I graduated with that. Now listen at me stand up here talking to people who have all these degrees and stuff. And you mean y'all can't produce nothing to argue with me on? Then how do you fix in your mind that somehow we are inferior to you? You didn't come and get us and civilize us. You didn't find us in caves and come and pull us out of no cave and teach us how to be civilized. We did that for you. Any white person that say that's not true, come in here and tell me that we, black people, didn't find you in the cave Matter of fact, we the one ran you out from among us, and you went into the cave and became a savage. Where do you think you get that idea in masonry? Excuse me. In your masonry, you have a ritual where you put on an apron and you walk to burning sands. Where do you get that ritual from? That was our fathers marching you out from among us across the burning sands of the desert into Europe, where you went savage and became a cave-dwelling man. And after 2,000 years of that, we sent Moses in there. As the book says, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness. You're the serpent that we lifted up. Reason we called you the serpent is because of what we had put in your mind as Jacob put you notice a serpent is a water snake. Right? Okay. Where's your brain located? Inside your skull, surrounded by what? Water. Okay. But the serpent, the one who we made devil, the knowledge that's why we call you a made man, and we call you mankind. We have made many different kinds of men. You're making many different kinds of men now. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, farmers. Those are kinds of men. Is that right? Based on what? The knowledge that's in your head determines what kind of man you are. See, you had never heard it taught like that, had you? I didn't hear you. But God himself is the original man. What is the root word of original? Origin. Allah, he is the truth. Then Allah being the truth is the origin, the originator of all of these different kinds of men. It takes certain truths to make this kind of man. Another truth to make that kind of man, but it's all from the what? The original man. Ah, yeah. Now you growing. Oh, praise is due to Allah. So, but listen to this again. I want you to listen to the former Assistant Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Now listen to her give you the facts.
So the leader of that group has now said that he has formed alliances with other far-right groups to advocate for Georgia's secession for the Union. Georgia's not going to secede from the Union. It's basically now a blue state. But
see, now, being a blue state or a red state ain't got nothing to do with seceding from the Union. When them Confederate states decided they was going to secede from the Union forbidden it. Huh? The Constitution does not allow you to just up and secede from the Union. Do you understand? Because that is to break up the United States. That's treason. You know how you get around people who claim they want to secede from the Union. Anybody who wants to secede from the Union is free to do so anytime. Jump on a plane and leave. I didn't hear you. Huh? Ain't nobody making you stay in the United States. Talk back. Talk back. tried that once and had a civil war about it, didn't they? And you know why the Union Army was called the Union Army? Come on, tell me. It's because it was an army that was to prevent those Confederate troops from supporting and being triumphant in allowing the breakup of the United States of America. I didn't hear you. And all of them who were part of that rebellion were committing treason. Now, if I'm not telling the truth, how come ain't nobody saying nothing? You're always jumping on both. You jump on other people that say stuff against you. How come you ain't jumping on me? Come on in here and tell me what I got wrong. Come in here and tell me that you have a right to secession. And show me that right in the Constitution. Just show it to me. What part of the Constitution tells you that the state has a right to secede from the Union? I'm waiting. Show me in the Constitution where it says, where it suggests that the militia is set up so that if the government becomes unjust or whatnot, that the militia is supposed to overthrow it. Show me that clause in the Constitution where it even suggests that the purpose for a militia is to protect the American citizens from the American government. Show me that. Wait a minute now. You've been parakeeting all that stuff. You've been out here putting that garbage on the and it's garbage. What did the devil say when Jesus was casting them out? If you're going to cast us out, let us go into the swine. And Jesus said, well, be gone. Go into. And when he went into the swine, what did the swine do? They was feeding on the side of a hill. And when the devils went into them, they ran into the sea and committed suicide, huh? Like that boy that shot them 2 people and committed suicide. That's what happens when you're eating garbage. The devils, they have authority over the swine. As Jesus said, cast not your pearls before swine, neither give that which is holy unto the barking dogs who barking back and forth at you instead of shutting their mouth and listening. Huh? You notice all these people, even that man in Vegas that shot up all of them people, didn't he commit suicide when he was finished? Huh? Yeah. It's a whole lot of murder-suicides going on, huh? The devils are cast out into the swine, and people who just go around on the internet eating garbage, consuming garbage. Huh? Swine. Can't feed them nothing good. You can't feed them reason. When you try to reason with them, you discover that it's like casting a pearl to a swine. He throw it down. He don't want to hear it. And then he will attack you if he think he can do something to you. If he think he can get away with it, he'll come jump on you. Huh? Just as Jesus said, cast not your pearls before swine, lest they root them in the earth and then turn and rend you, attack you. Neither give that which is holy unto the dogs. You notice the scripture calls the messengers of God strangers. Brings you to that whole, what is a stranger? Somebody that you don't know, huh? Is that right? You remember the Doobie Brothers? Say, you don't know me, but I'm your brother. I was raised here in this living hell. You don't know my kind. You don't understand my kind in your world. But fairly soon, the time will tell. I didn't hear you. What did Donald Trump promise when he took off? He gonna make America great again, huh? Is America great again? Did it get great again under him? You keep telling me the things you're gonna do for me. What the hell you got to lose? And remember that? How many black people have lost their lives who voted for Donald Trump? Who thought that somehow Donald Trump was going to do something for them? Because he promised. He asked you what you got to lose, right? Even got you convinced that the first black president didn't do nothing for you. Regardless to all of the good that Barack Obama did for this country, somehow you thought what he did wasn't for you too. Because you're just that foolish. Barack Obama made the whole world take another look at the black man in America, and they had to change what they thought about us. It's just like with me. Just think, look how hard it is right now for people to accept the fact that the Son of Man is a black man. It would have been even harder to accept if they had never seen a black man exercising intelligence in the world's most auspicious office, President of the United States of America. And not only did he wear that title well, he lived up to it and garnered the respect of every civilized nation that had any kind of dealings with him or America. And I'll tell you something else. When Vladimir Putin was asked his opinion of President Obama, he said, I will leave the opinion of the American president to the American people. That's respect. Huh? When Donald Trump stood up and said that Vladimir Putin and Russia had nothing to do with the election, right in front of Donald Trump, a reporter asked Vladimir Putin, did you order your people to help Donald Trump win the election in America? He said, yes. Huh? Doing what? Saying it ain't my fault if this fool standing next to me ain't got sense enough to respect his intelligence community, but I have respect for him. I know what they are capable of. And they didn't lie. I did help him. Huh? And he said it right in front of Donald Trump. Did that show he had respect for Donald Trump? Or that Donald Trump was to him as George Papadopoulos was to him, a useful idiot? I didn't hear you. How come ain't none of y'all coming in here getting on me for lying? I mean, if I'm telling the truth, what does that make you look like for supporting a man like that? What have I said that's not true? Remember, I told you even before I heard this woman, I told you that these people are not no militias. And I explained the Second Amendment to you. What in the world you think I am? You think I can understand the word of God, which is above all of y'all's head? But somehow the Constitution is over my head? The scripture teaches you that he that is from above is above all. Have you heard any attorney come in here and suggest that my read of the Constitution is not correct on the Second Amendment? The Constitution is not vague on the way it's written. It says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the state. The right of the people to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. It goes without saying that it meant the right of the people of the militia. I didn't hear you. And to show you, as I told you, once the state recognizes and allows you to become part of the military or of the security for the United States, they don't issue you no license to carry no weapon. They don't issue you nothing. They issue you uniforms and they issue you weapons. If they accepted you into the military, you automatically have the right to a weapon. I didn't hear you. And if you don't know how to use one, they teach you how to use one. If you don't know how to use a tank, they teach you how to drive a tank and then they assign you one. I didn't hear you. Whatever your military occupation is, if you don't know how to do it, they give you a training in it. Even if you think you already know, they still put you through the training. Huh? And the right for them to keep and to bear arms is not infringed. Matter of fact, the military always adding something new to their arsenal. Huh? You can say, well, we're going to limit them. We ain't going to let them have these type of bombs here. We ain't going to let, you can't infringe nothing. They going to have whatever is at their available. You just, the politicians can tell them when to go to war and when to use those things. They must be well regulated. Huh? And you will not use these weapons on our citizens. You will not rise up against the citizens of the United States. Well regulated. Huh? Well controlled. The military is not under its own authority. It is under the authority of civilians, because it is not established to ride roughshod, but it is established to protect and defend. So you listen to her tell you again.
How concerned are you that Marjorie Taylor Greene, despite not having committee assignments, she still has ties to what sure does sound like a paramilitary insurgent group? Well, let's start with facts first. There is no such thing as a legal private militia. All 50 states have laws on the books that ban private militias from conducting law enforcement activities, meaning if she was using them for security at her campaign rallies, that's illegal. So the states need to do a better.
Did you hear that? She had no business with no private people call themselves her security. Can't no gang be security. For if they shoot someone down or whatnot, they don't have that authority. Do you understand? I don't care how you call yourself a vigilante or whatever. If you out here without the state's authority and knowledge, and you shoot somebody down, I don't care how right you think you were, they supposed to arrest you. So, like I told you before, if everybody is armed and there's a shootout going on between the Hatfields and the McCoys, when the sheriff ride up, who the bad guy? If the sheriff ain't careful, he ain't gonna get shot. Huh? Well, I tell you who the bad guy. All of them that's out there shooting at each other. Because ain't none of them part of the militia. Ain't none of them state sanctioned to take another individual's life. If they had a problem between themselves, that's what the court system is for. If you feel you are right, then why don't you go and argue your case in court? I told you, whatever I decide to take up and argue, you ain't got nothing to argue with me about. I ain't like you. Just go pick up something and start running with it before I know what I'm running with. And that's what angers you. You resent the fact that I'm black, and you resent the fact that I know what I'm talking about. I even had one fella, when I was teaching years back, I was on there sharing some knowledge with him, and he before he caught himself, his name was Wendell. He said, I wish I had said that. He wished he had said what I had just said. That's all you want. You just want to be seen and heard. You want to show off. Is that what you think I'm up here doing? So, showing off? I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to try to save your life. If you ain't got sense enough to appreciate it, well, that's on you. You ungrateful. What have I said that's not the truth? Point it out. This is your chance. Point out whatever I have said to you that's not the truth. So, see? And if I'm saying the truth, why don't you believe me? Why you don't believe in me then? So you see the Confederate flag up there? Let's listen at this boy some more. Watch him try to play both sides to try to make it look like both sides is bad. Well, if both sides is bad, if the Democrats is bad and the Republicans is bad, this is what they've been trying to get you to do. You notice when the Republicans had the House, the Senate, and the presidency, what got accomplished? What? Couldn't blame the Democrats for holding them back because they was in charge, right? What did they do and what benefit did you get from having all of the Republicans in charge? And I told you, that is the intelligent thing for you to do. If you elect a Republican president, you should give him a Republican House and a Republican Senate. And that will show you whether or not he meant what he said when he said he was going to do what he was doing. And that'll let you know what kind of people is in that party. You gave a slim margin, but you gave Joe Biden a Democratic Senate and you gave him a Democratic House of Representatives. Now, they need to go and get busy and start. And he done already started. He instituted the Defense Production Act, and they revving up the companies to produce the vaccines, and he's also calling out some of the National Guard and whatnot to help administer shots and all of this kind of thing. The man is on the job. And they are about to send out another stimulus bill that will actually help people with or without Republicans, to show you that your government is worth saving. Your government does work. But you've had people in there, even though you've had proof that your government works for the past 240 years. You've had proof that it works. But you're willing to trash all of that because some scheming little crooks have now tried to make both parties seem like neither one of them is any good for your country. You need to just do away with it and let's become a dictatorship. Huh? You notice when they was talking about replacing the Affordable Care Act, they didn't call it the Affordable Care Act. They said they're going to get rid of Obamacare because you already was a racist. You hate Obama and anything that have to do with him, right? That's your Achilles heel. Your hatred of black people. And that's what they will use to destroy you. Because you're just that stupid. Look at you. I gave you an opportunity to come in here and tell me why you hate us so much. What did we really do to you? Tell me. What has black people done to you? You, for one while, you had us walking around here calling you master. Even though, just like you read in the Bible, this is why you claim to love the Bible so much, because the Bible said, servants, obey your masters. Huh? As unto the Lord. But your Bible also tells you in the book of James. Go to the 3rd chapter and read the 1st verse. It says, my brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation. The greater condemnation is greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You notice I done condemned all of you. You claim that you some superior to me. I stood up here in front of the whole world and told you that I'm the supreme being. How come ain't nobody arguing with me about that? And if I'm the supreme being and I'm a black man, what does that say about you talking about some white supremacy? Come on, talk to me. Show me how I'm not the supreme being. Ain't nobody saying nothing. Well, the scriptures also says, call no man on earth master, for one is your master, even Christ. Huh? Well, then when it says servants obey your master, well, the anointed ones of God are the masters, and you are being told to obey them. Not these enslavers, not these people walking around, but they have been using this to call themselves the supreme race. Do you understand? They've been using the misrepresentation of the scriptures. That's why they claim to love the scripture so much, because they think that supports their white supremacy. Now I done took that away from them, you see. Huh? I didn't hear you. He killed us with that word, with the spoken word. And he that killeth with the sword must be what? I just killed him. I killed his lie with the truth of it. Huh? It's just like this Pope of the church and all these priests that's in, you find them a lot of their places in the Catholic church calling themselves fathers, and you call them father. Jesus said, call no man on earth father, for one is your father, which is in heaven. Huh? The Son of Man is the only one that the scripture referred to as father. Because without me, there is no new nation of Islam. There is no new world without me. I'm the one that make all things new. Do you understand? Just like there would have been no United States. There was no new nation called the United States of America without George Washington. Wouldn't have been there. Huh? And without me, there is no new nation of Islam. There is no new world. I'm the only one with new thoughts. Y'all ain't got nothing new. Come in here and share something new with me. Even your racism, that's old, man. You're going backwards. That was tried already. It was tried and failed. Secession from the Union, tried and failed. I didn't hear you. So is that all you can do? It's things that you already tried that didn't work before. What do they say the definition of a fool is? Somebody that keep doing the same thing, but thinking they're going to get a different result. I didn't hear you. I didn't say that. Y'all said it. And by your own words, you shall be justified. And by your own words, you shall be condemned. That's the word of God. You do anything for money, won't you? That's why you call a whore. That's capitalism. Anything for money. The greatest motivator on earth is love. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy soul, all thy mind, and all thy strength. And in so doing, if you have love for your neighbor as yourself, then shall men know that you truly love God, because you keep his commandments. And he ordered us to love one another. You see people all the time. They use, well, you don't hardly see it no more unless they knew. You remember when they first here respecting the American flag and having it up here behind me and having it next to our flag, the crescent and star? Remember what they used to say? What are you doing with that American flag up there? Right? I'm doing what Allah said do. I'm doing unto others as I would have others do unto me. It sounds really crazy for a man to call himself righteous, to raise up a flag in a country that he has to acknowledge is not his. To raise up a flag and expect the owner of that country to respect his flag while he does not respect theirs. You know what that would tell them about me if I was that stupid? This nigga ain't no son of man. Go ahead and get that fool out of here. Yeah. Or they might say, yeah, tell him to follow him. He's stupid as the days is long. That's what they've been giving us. They've been giving us fools to follow. That's why we ain't ever gotten nowhere. That's why he keep on taking us in a big vicious circle. Everything that one generation, you still fighting for voting rights, which you supposed to been done had back in the 60s. But you right back fighting for them again, huh? Why? Because you have not ever had the right representation. When you get behind me, you won't have all them fights with them. No. But like I said, I will try to help him keep his country because I would like him to be one of my allies. Certainly. It's a nice friend to have, the United States of America, along with the UK, along with the rest of the world. I don't want to harm none of them. I'd like us to all work together as brothers. But just saying I would like that, that's not good enough. My deeds and my actions has to go along with what I'm saying. Now, which of you, even Russia and Putin and all of them, which of you can claim that I have said something about you that's not true? What? Even when I said what I said about Edward Snowden. Yeah, he told the truth on the intelligence community of the United States. Yeah, they spy on American citizens. Russia does the same thing on their citizens. Every civilized nation spies on their own citizens. How in the world can they protect their country from internal enemies if they're not watching everybody? As bad as these people who call freedom of speech freedom to lie, freedom to encourage people to commit insurrection. That's our right. We have the freedom. You don't have that right. Insurrection is against the law. And if that's against the law, you don't have the right to teach people to do things that's against the law. Or to encourage them to do it. As bad as them lying Jews that was in Jesus' day and time. When Pilate said, okay, man, if you want him killed, you go do it. You know, our law won't allow us to put any man to death. Well, what are you trying to, if it won't allow you to put him to death, then it don't allow you to encourage others to do it. What is wrong with you? You get up and because, look, certainly I admire President Obama. I admire Joseph Biden. I admire all of the presidents that have, they get out in front of the American people. You don't see no American president standing up speaking loudly and raising his voice like you see me doing. That's because he don't have the authority I have. The scripture says the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a what? Ain't none of y'all got no business shouting and going on and I'm here. You don't shout nothing at me. Don't you mistake me raising my voice for emotionalism. What have I said that's not factual? Emotionalism is based on things that are not always factual. What have I said that's not true? And just my emotions done got the best of me. Have you noticed that when you printing something and you want it to stand out, you make it bold, don't you? It jumps out at you, don't it? Well, Allah has given me the mind of boldness. That's why I shout. That's why I talk loud. That's why I was given a loud voice. Haven't you noticed that All of the years that I have been speaking to you, have you ever heard me hoarse? Huh? Now, I know you haven't. Because my voice is just designed by Allah to do this job. My body was special made to do this job. To speak boldly. You can speak boldly when you know what you're talking about. So that she told him that was against the law. Her having some private militia. There ain't no such thing. That's unlawful. Ain't no such thing, no private militia. You can't regulate private things. The state can't interfere in private things. I didn't hear you. They can set rules, but a private business, they run their business how they want it. Is that right? But a militia is not a private thing. It is something that the state must regulate. Anyone that has the right to keep and to bear arms, you must regulate them. Because if you've given them the right to keep and to bear arms, you've given them the right to kill. I didn't hear you. And if you're going to give them that right, you ought to regulate them. Last time I checked, your right to bear arms as a private citizen has been infringed ever since you claim to have it. So that tells you right there, your understanding of the Second Amendment ain't true. Otherwise, how come private citizens, if they want them, can't go buy tanks and have tanks and all of them cannons and bombs and helicopters and all of these things that military stuff I'm talking about, miniguns and all of that, the military got all that. If you have the same right, well, how come you can't get it? Then your right to keep and bear arms is being infringed, according to your reading of the Constitution. And the sad part is that most of those crooked people, especially the crooks who call themselves Republicans, they know that the Second Amendment doesn't mean what you think it means. But they want you to tear yourself apart. What did they boast about? Instead of just saying Putin playing chess, they should have just said the enemies of America are playing chess. Putting their people, helping people get in positions that are sympathetic to them, that would like to see America destroyed, helping them become politicians and get into your government so they could tear it up from the inside. Now, I want to say to those who are truly patriotic Americans in both parties, the few that's in the side called Republican and the greater majority of patriots that's in the Democratic Party, show your people, show the American people how the government is supposed to work. Do your job. Don't waste time. Don't let those who trying to make the government look unnecessary or unproductive, calling themselves Republicans, don't let them slow you down. Just go on and do what's right for the country so that the people can see their government function like it's supposed to. Now, they've given you the majority in both houses. Use it. Just use it. And all of you who see that the Republican Party, as the woman bragged, that the Republican Party belongs to Trump. You heard her say that. You know that ain't how it's supposed to go. Leave that foolishness. And I'm going to tell you something else. If you stand up for what's right, you can be forgiven. I have the power to forgive you. The scripture says the Son of Man have power on earth to forgive sins. And if I forgive sins, then you ain't got to be afraid of what somebody gonna do to you for now coming to your senses and doing what's right. The wages of sin is death. But once I forgive you your sins, you ain't got to worry about nobody's threat against you. Do what's right and trust in Allah's word. He told me no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Once I forgive you, and I do forgive you, if you stand up for what's right, stand up for your country. And I will forgive you. I forgive you of all of the things that you stumble at. I forgive you. Now go on and do what's right and find this man guilty of what he did. And every one of them that aided him. Instruct the Justice Department to follow the law. And then you stay out of their way. And no weapon that's formed against you shall prosper. I'm not walking around here afraid somebody's sitting out there in the woods with a scope and their M16 or M14 rifle pointed at me thinking they're going to murder me. No, I'm not. And don't you be afraid. You trust in Allah. Allah is the one that have to say so over who lives and who dies on this planet and in this universe. You do, when you do hear a shot, it will probably, you'll find a body out there when you see the buzzards circling, that Allah make them shoot themselves. Don't say he can't do it. You see him doing it all the time. Man shot up some people and then he shot himself. Huh? What is that to show you? These people with these guns don't control nothing. They just think they do. The gun is their God. And he that taketh the sword shall perish therewith. And he that taketh the gun shall perish with the gun. Don't trust in guns. Trust in the God who taught us how to make the gun. Okay? You'll be all right. All praises due to Allah. There's some other things I wanted to show you, but didn't she make that clear? Let me let you hear that again.
Evidence. Other far-right right groups to advocate for Georgia's secession for the Union. Georgia's not going to secede from the Union. It's basically now a blue state. But how concerned are you that Marjorie Taylor Greene, despite not having committee assignments—
I wish someone had corrected Joy on the fact that it don't make no difference if it's a red or blue state. You don't get to just secede from the Union of the United States without the United States permission. And you ain't gonna get that. They had a war about that already. I didn't hear you. And matter of fact, George Washington said this. He said, "It is of infinite moment that you should properly estimate the immense value of your national union. To your collective and individual happiness, that you should cherish a cordial and habitual and immovable attachment to it, accustoming yourselves to think and speak of it as of the palladium of your political safety and prosperity, watching for its preservation with jealous anxiety. Any thought to erase the Union should cause anxiety on your part." That's what he's saying. Huh? He says, "And discountenancing whatever may suggest even a suspicion that it can in any event be abandoned." No, you ain't gonna secede from the Union. You get your behind out of the country. That's how you secede. Just leave. But God didn't bring the United States and put us through all of this hell to just up and abandon us. He said that nation that we serve, he said, "I will judge. And afterward shall they come out with great substance. Shall they come out of their bitter feuding amongst themselves, and all of them shall have a more substantive mind and a greater understanding of my whole purpose for allowing all this to happen in the first place." Do you understand? So it says, discountenancing, meaning not even accepting. To discountenance means to don't even accept it, don't even entertain the thought. Frown upon the even bringing up the conversation of secession. It says, discountenancing whatever may suggest even a suspicion that the Union can be abandoned, and indignantly frowning upon the first dawning of every attempt to alienate any portion of our country from the rest, or to enfeeble the sacred ties which now link together the various parts. Want to weaken the Constitution now by misinterpreting it. So, like I said, you talk that talk. You always talk about where the framers of the Constitution meant this, the framers of the Constitution meant that. And you think you know more about what they meant than George Washington? So Joy don't understand. No, George is not going to secede from the Union, not because it turned blue. It's not going to secede from the Union because it's a part of the Union, and the Union has to let it go. And the Union of the United States is the Constitution. And show me in the Constitution where it permits secession. If you don't like something that's happening in the government, you are given ways to redress, to petition, as the Constitution grants you the right to peaceful assembly, and to petition the government for the redress of your grievances. It don't grant you the right to seek to secede from the Union. Where in the Constitution does it tell you you got the right to secede? In other words, you got the right to break up the United States. I'm waiting. Come on now. This is your chance. Which one of the amendments is that one? The secession amendment. If you get tired of the Union, you just dissolve it. Where's that one at? These people hollering USA, 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 and got a Confederate flag up there flying. Yeah? So I guess USA don't mean what you think it meant, huh? Oh, they said USA first. America first. America first. If you want to destroy democratic republics all over the earth, you must destroy the one that they all use as their model, America first. Listen now. Is this a conspiracy theory that I'm presenting to you? Or is this circumstantial evidence based on facts? Have not I presented facts to you to support what I just said? I mean, the whole time that Donald Trump was talking about he gonna make America great again. Okay, did that, what he did, that final push of his to overturn an election that he claimed was filled with fraud, and the only fraud we found was the fraud that he was attempting to commit. And he did that right in front of us. I didn't hear you. With the help of Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and 5 more of them senators up there, huh? And with 140 something House Republicans. And I bet you every one of them name is signed on that Grover Norquist pledge. I didn't hear you. What is another way of getting rid of the government of America without the American people realizing what you're doing? Claim you want to get rid of taxes while having taken a pledge that you will never raise taxes for any reason. That's what the pledge says, ain't it? That you pledge to never raise taxes for any reason. But what about when it's in the best interest of the country, which is what the power that was given to Congress to levy taxes when it is for the best interest of the country? But they took a pledge to never raise taxes for any reason. Huh? Well, then, if there's something that the country needs, the government's supposed to see it, determine how to best meet it, and then form whatever bureaucracy or whatever in government needs to be formed in order to meet the need and present it to the American people in an honest report. As they have White House briefings, let the American people know what you're about to do and why, and appeal to their sense of patriotism and reason. And the American people, they ain't never mind paying their way as long as they're getting what they're paying for. Is that right? This country didn't become the richest nation on earth by being niggardly. It became the richest nation on earth by being honest with needs and how to meet those needs. And not only were they able to meet the needs of most of their own citizens, they were able to share with other nations too. Because it is written, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So, you can't say that you don't believe that the Son of Man has power to forgive. And since the wages of sin is death, if you are forgiven for some sin that you did, then the death penalty is taken away from you. Then who can threaten you with death if God have forgiven you? Now, the point is, when I tell you don't be afraid after I forgave you, Allah said, behold my servant, whose word I uphold. I didn't hear you. You don't have to be afraid anymore. If you're ready to do the right thing, you are forgiven. Now just get up and go and do the right thing. Now, there's something else that I want you to remember. These people have been trying to tell you that somehow Donald Trump is not, what did he say? He's not getting due process. Now, just, you know, they play on our ignorance. Now, just a moment here.
What should we remember from the attack?
Insurrection stemming from the riot on Capitol Hill a month ago. Tonight, in an interview with CBS News, the president is speaking out about Trump's behavior, whether he should get intelligence briefings, whether he would vote to impeach if he were still in the Senate.
Now, before I let our president speak, I just want to say how refreshing it is to get honest answers to sometimes hard questions or some, to honest questions. Even some questions that should not have even been asked. But to get an honest answer. is refreshing, isn't it?
And like hell to defeat him because he was unfit to be president. I've watched what everybody else watched. What happened when that crew invaded the United States Congress. But now I'll let the Senate make that decision.
Should former President Trump still receive intelligence briefings?
I think not.
Why not?
Because of his erratic behavior unrelated to the insurrection.
What's your worst fear if he continues to get these intelligence briefings?
I'd rather not speculate out loud. I just think that there's no need for him to have that intelligence briefing. What value is giving him an intelligence briefing? What impact does he have at all, other than the fact he might slip and say something?
Tonight, the latest reporting from the New York Times says Trump's defense.
If Joe Biden had answered anything other than what he answered, it would have made him a hypocrite. It was not a politically correct answer, it was an honest answer. Former presidents, they are given the courtesy of intelligence briefings. Because generally, when you have former presidents that were patriotic, that you consider, I mean, who would ever think that a president of the United States would not be patriotic? Huh? So any sitting president welcomes the opportunity to obtain counsel from a past president, because in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Sometimes former presidents have had dealings with individuals that are lifetime appointments or lifetime dictators. And he can say, well, look, what do you know about this particular dictator or this one or what? And he can say, well, look, man, if you do this, I mean, you can you might be able to work with him on this, but don't try this with him because at least when I tried it, it didn't work. He ain't gonna go but so far on whatnot. So if he promised you something or whatnot, don't, you can trust it. Or if he promised you something, you take it with a grain of salt, because he's not always, he ain't trustworthy. And, they can help him. But what can Donald Trump do? What does he need an intelligence briefing for? Nothing. He don't care about this country. And Joe Biden should not give him an intelligence briefing. For the security of the United States. The intelligence briefings that he was being given before should have been very, 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 very small. Because that man is the enemy of this country. So now listen to these lawyers here. Let me show you how people, they try to take advantage of your ignorance. Now just listen.
Lawyers Bruce Castor and David Schoen have, quote, worked feverishly on Friday to get up to speed on the case and prepare for the trial. It adds that they had yet to learn anything about how the trial would operate, including its schedule, how much time the defense would have to present its arguments, and the rules for entering evidence. I'm in shock we're starting Tuesday and we have no agreement for how any resolutions will be put forward, Mr. Schoen said in a telephone interview. We have no rules, no agenda, no time frame. There is no possible way this is consistent with due process.
due process ain't got nothing to do with no impeachment. You know what an impeachment is? An impeachment is when people hire you to do a job and determine that you haven't did the job like you should. That's not a trial. That's not a criminal trial that Donald Trump is going up for. He's going up because he's been accused of doing things that were not presidential and he should not have done, and he should have been removed from office. Do you understand? They could have had his impeachment hearing while he was still president. If Mitch McConnell had went along with Chuck Schumer and decided, well, okay, we'll bring the Senate back and we will have the hearing. This is not a trial in the sense of criminal activity. Ain't no due process. But they talking like that to ignorant people. This is all about, look, Mr. Trump, you incited people to come up to the Capitol and commit insurrection. Mr. Trump is refusing to testify. And his refusal to testify is an admission that the charges against him is right. He ain't got to be scared to go to jail. This is all about, did you do something that a president shouldn't do or not? Who best knows whether he did something that a president should or should not do other than him? I mean, come on, tell me. What are you talking about due process? Donald Trump ain't on no, there ain't no criminal. An impeachment hearing is not a criminal activity. It's a civilized way of putting a president in check to see if he's guilty of high crimes or misdemeanors. Inciting people to insurrection is a high crime. It's a federal crime. And it is also a demeanor in which a president should not be found. It is unbecoming for his office. Just like if the president went out in the public and dropped his pants. That's a misdemeanor. Huh? Okay, now, either he did that or he didn't. What do you mean due process? He can come in there and argue for his own self. He didn't even need no lawyers. All he had to do is come in there and say, look, man, this is what happened and this is what I did, and I don't think I overstepped the line of this. And then he can answer for what he said up there. But he don't want to get on no stand and swear to tell the truth. It is a crime to lie to the Senate and to the Congress. It's a crime. So if he get up there and say he believed there was some fraud, then the next question is, okay, what made you believe that? Where's the evidence that you have? It's already on the phone that he didn't have no evidence. That's why he was telling people to go find some. These lawyers ain't talking to intelligent people. They are talking to people who are not knowledgeable of what an impeachment proceeding is. Talking about due process. What do you mean due process? What are you talking about? This is all about whether a man was fit to keep his job or lose it. That's all this is. Ain't no due process. It's either you was fit to be in that office or not. Was the House justified to impeach you or not? Does the evidence show that you were unfit? And the minute he stood up there and told all the lies that he'd been telling the American people and perpetuating those lies proved his unfitness for that office. And you notice all these people who claiming that they believe Donald Trump won the election, ain't now one of them in here trying to defend him. You know why? Because the only time they can holler and offer out some objections and make it look like they support him is when they talking to a computer or talking to something that can't talk back and can't ask no questions and present no arguments. So they real boisterous then. But when they talking to someone who can talk back and ask questions and demand proofs of what they say, they get tongue-tied. They all of a sudden become a deaf mute. So we've been here almost 4 hours now. I think I made my point. So now I've given you your way out. Like I said, you don't have to be afraid of people who throw threats at you and your family. They ain't gonna do nothing to you. Allah ain't gonna let them. Stand up for what's right. Repent. And stand up for what's right. And I forgive you. Amen. Amen. And amen. That's one way you can prove whether I'm the Son of Man or not. Allah said he will uphold his servant. If I'm not his servant, then why is he upholding me? I'm in Mississippi here. This is red country heaven. I'm not walking around here afraid. I had signs out in my yard saying support Joe Biden. Ain't nobody drove by here call himself threatening me. So, trust in Allah. The gun can't help you. There's a whole lot of people with guns that got killed. But when you trust in Almighty God, Allah, can't nothing happen to you without his permission. And he ain't giving nobody permission today to murder people who believe in him. He let them plan. Then he make them go do it to their wicked selves. So it's time now to make an example that people who think they might want to do something like Donald Trump and all of them crazy people who supported him in the government, they'll think twice before they try it again. They'll know what's waiting on them when they try it again, or if they try it again. Okay. And may Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. And may Allah bless every patriot to stand firm and let the fear that the wicked try to put in them, let that fear return to the wicked, and let him flee when none pursue it. And now to all of you who have right in your heart and want to do what's right, may Allah's salam alaikum.
This session